Okay, so thank you all for joining. I know it's Saturday morning, and for some it might be Saturday afternoon, wherever from you are joining. But thank you so much, and we are very sorry to say that we pushed this particular meetup for a couple of times because of few some uh, conflicts with the meetings or other assignments, etc. So that is the reason we were forced to move this to another date. And anyway, today we are having it. And thank you once again for joining. And we have a wonderful presenter and speaker today, Siddhamma, with us. So she will be. I'm very excited to about this particular topic because today everything is AI related topics we are talking everywhere, and this is something she has very excitingly she has prepared something for all of us, which talks about how we can use the natural learning process, that language, how it can be used, and NLPs, how can it be used in AI process, how can we automate things, etc. We'll be discussing. And just some safe harbor statement we usually always say during the meetups. So please remember that both the speaker and host, we are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only, and we are not representing our companies here. Okay? And the presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. So organizer present do not hold any responsibility because we might be presenting something. It may not be working for your case scenario, but provided you have to your own research and findings, everything. So if you're going to plan it to use for business requirements, definitely it has to be analyzed carefully. So that is one thing. And we are not using this for promotional activities as well. So thank you once again for joining. Sid, we can move to the next slide, I think. Yeah, so let me introduce myself here. So my name is Sandeep Krishnan. Basically, I work for an organization called NJC Labs, and we are into training, we are into projects, so we do a lot of stuff, internally, and for customer projects. And if you look at my experience, I have almost 20 plus experience of IT industry and integration space, and I've been in the space for a very long time. And basically, I am a certified trainer and MuleSoft architect, platform architect, solution architect. All those areas I've been working with. So yeah, this is all about me. And we have one more host in this meeting. She is also there, and unfortunately, I couldn't put her picture in the image. Her name is Anne. Anne is also our Kochi Mulesoft host. She has joined recently into the group. So, Anne, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anne. I'm also Kochi based working. I'm been in the MuleSoft like been 2 years only. So this is my first meetup as a host, and I'm looking forward with the future also.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Anne.
you.
Yeah. So now I will formally introduce Siddhamma to this meeting. So please, you can introduce yourself and you can just start with your presentation, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sandeep, for this opportunity. It's really great to engage with the MuleSoft community at large, sharing knowledge with them and picking up interesting topics which people will be definitely interested in. So basically, I come with around 18 plus years of IT experience across different technology stacks, very tech agnostic, I would say, not just integration, it could be data, and now more into AI. And MuleSoft, it has been almost close to a decade I've been working as my primary skill, but I've worked on different other iPasses, data related ETLs, data stage, and IBM suite of products, and Java J2E and whatnot. So that has been overall my tech stack that I've worked in my entire career. But the reason why I want to, very enthusiastic of becoming a speaker and engaging with a wider audience is because it gives you a voice and a platform where you can showcase your ideas as to how you can solve problems differently because many a times the projects or the workplace that we are engaged in might limit your scope in terms of how much creative you can get. Sometimes it is the technology stack, and you're kind of, you have to work within your boundaries to kind of realize the solution within that. Or else it might be that that particular use case is, or you might not come across those kind of use cases or that diverse requirement where you can probably engage and show your ingenuity, right? So I think this platform gives us those opportunities where we can get creative, we can be more bold in terms of the kind of solutions we can spin up. So instead of talking too much about myself and why I'm doing this activity, I want to kind of talk a little bit more of what we are planning to address today. Right. So the agenda for today's discussion is NLP and AI agents. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of buzz about AI now. Pretty much LinkedIn or any post and social media is a buzz about AI. Of course, you will have also heard about NLP is there even before AI became a buzz, right? The natural language processing. So basically, what are we talking about here? I know there are a lot of SaaS offerings available for AI agents, like you have. If I just talk about our own space of work, which is Salesforce, we have Agent Force, and I'm sure there are a lot of other flavors of ready to use AI agents that can be employed, and you can have accelerated delivery and enablement of AI for different enterprises and organizations, right? So what are we talking about? Open AI agent here is, we are trying to get a little bit more creative, that you can spin up your own AI agent. You can write a code to build your own AI agent, and what that AI agent can do is, the sky is the limit. And how easy it is to do, and what are the open source frameworks or platforms available for us to do that, is something that we're trying to address here. So I will touch upon the topic of how NLP and AI agent can be used for one specific use case as an example, and the approach around it. And definitely there will also be a demo as to how this AI agent is currently working. I've just created a very simple AI agent, and it's available, it's accessible to you. The links and the details of that are also shared. I'll be sharing that as we go ahead in this discussion. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about NLP, a little bit about AI agents. So what is this that we are talking about? NLP. NLP has been there from quite a long time, even before we started talking about AI or the AI agents that we're talking today. So natural language processing, if I put it in a nutshell, in a very definitive terms, what it is, it's of course a branch of AI. It focuses on interaction between machines and human language, right? So there's a language that you speak. You might be speaking English, you might be speaking Malayalam, Hindi, or any other language that you might be speaking, right? So this is how would a machine understand your language and then interpret that. So that is taken care by this branch of natural language processing, that is NLP. So it enables the machines to understand, interpret, and generate human languages, both in meaningful and contextual approach, right? For example, you can give a command. Okay, it will either in the form of text or either in terms of speech. It can do sentiment analysis. It can take actions based on that text or that command that you have given. So basically, it's able to interpret, it's able to converse with you, and that's very important, right? I mean, that is what where we are that's where we are going towards now as we are progressing in the AI world. So NLP becomes very critical in that space. Now coming to AI agent, um, what we hear in the industry is AI agent is just like one step before AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, where we expect AI to be as more intelligent or as intelligent as human beings can be, right? So we are just one step behind that. Now we're talking of AI agents. So what can AI agents actually do for you, and what is a AI agent? It's a very broad concept. It's a logical concept. We need to understand that, right? So it's not that one particular brand of IT tech solution would create an AI agent and that becomes an AI agent. So AI agent is a very logical term. Basically, it is a software entity, right, that uses AI techniques to autonomously perform tasks, make decisions, and solve problems. right? Which we repeatedly do in our IT landscape, at least if you take that as an example, because that is our day-to-day activity. So basically, these AI agents can pretty much do most of those repetitive tasks. Like, for example, a very common one in operations, right? You get a lot of issues which are very repetitive in nature, right? So AI agents will learn on the go based on, like, there are 10 issues that keep happening every now and then. The server going down, or maybe some kind of a data transformation error that keeps coming in because there's some issues with the data and all of that. So these are some kind of repetitive tasks that keep happening, and it knows what action should be done. Like, for example, based on that understanding that the solution is to either restart the server, or it's to go and send out an email notification to the concerned team to look into the data issues. So all of these kind of tasks, right, which are repetitive in nature and which are done by human beings, can be automated and taken care by AI agent proactively. So they can reduce your engagement to do repetitive tasks which are very boring and mundane, and you can focus on much more creative and engaging tasks of architecture, design, strategy, and all of that, right? So basically, your AI agents come in as a helping hand. And this is a very broad logical terminology of calling this specific enablement as a or a capability as a AI agent. So it interacts with the environment through its sensors and other inputs, and it takes action based on some predefined rules and learnings and data analysis. These AI agents they can simply, based on these rule based systems, they can take actions and they can help you. So where you would see these kind of AI agents, commonly applications like chatbots, virtual assistants, autonomous vehicles, and all of this, right? Whatever you see around yourself, these all come under the same category. So that's what we're talking about as a AI agent. Guys, please feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions at any point. I'll keep going. So when I talk about open source AI capabilities, there's a democratized AI platform, or a place where you can probably do all of this stuff. Is called Hugging Face. So basically, Hugging Face gives you a platform where you can do all these tasks. What it actually gives you is, and it is widely used. You have a lot of it's an open source community, and it also has a paid version, of course, but most of it, what is available, is definitely free for your use. You can spin up good AI applications or apps very quickly on this platform, because there are a lot of reusable assets, and it's an open source platform, so there are a lot of it has a lot of community support where people contribute their ideas and their implementation of their apps, and you can go look at that, take inspiration, and build your own. So there's a lot of it's a very vibrant space to work in. So if you look at this Hugging Face, what it provides you is, it gives you transformer libraries, which give you wide access to pre-trained models for NLP, both for computer vision and speech tasks. It gives you data sets, because if you happen to develop a AI app, you definitely need to test it to certain extent, and it also gives you quite a lot of good amount of data sets based on different areas. Like, for example, you have medical, you have face recognition, or you have anything related to telecom or retail. So you have different areas, and you have different wide variety of data sets that can be leveraged from there. Then you have Model Hub, so you have free access to thousands of pre-trained models to tasks like like text generation, translation, image classification. For all of that, you have Model Hub, which you can access. And most importantly is the spaces, right? So it gives you the space. So when you log into the Hugging Face, which I'll show you soon, it allows you to create a space for yourself. Either you create it as a organization, you spin it up like an organization where a bunch of your own peers can work together. You can share the projects among yourself. You can collaborate and build a very creative AI application. So space is basically the definition of a space is that you'll be able to create a AI app which would have a very good, very rich UI. You could use Streamlit, you could use Gradio. These are all free. Of course, there would be few limitations in terms of the GPU and the CPU, processing power. But I think for a starters, I think it is a very good platform where you can build your own creative AI applications and try some hands-on and understand the existing models that are there. The LLM models or the smaller NLPs. So it's a great space to work there. So coming to what we are trying to do today, just to give you an example, so I would call it like a small little hello world of a AI agent clubbed with MuleSoft. So what we are trying to do here is basically we are trying to use let me just show you something. So basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to use AI agent. Of course, it has been built from scratch. I'll show you how it looks like and how it was built and how simple it is to spin it up. It's a Python based AI agent which has a Streamlit UI. What it does is it takes a input command which will be passed by a NLP model, which is uh, that's what I was trying to explain here about the Encore Web SM, which is nothing but a spacey pre-trained model. It is a NLP based. It helps you to parse your request that you are sending in normal English, and based on that input, it will take actions. So basically, this NLP model helps you to achieve tokenization of your text. Internally, that is how it would work, right? You might not be so much interested, but when you look at the code, you need to understand why you're using that particular pre-trained model, which is spacey, right? So what this spacey does is it tokenizes the text, the input sentence, and then it will create part of your speech labels into tokens like verbs and nouns. And it has a way of identifying, right? It named entity recognitions, so it understands persons, location, dates in the text, so it has a way to identify all of that. And then it would parse this, and you would have your own logic in your AI agent code, which is a Python based implementation, which will take actions based on that input sentence that comes in. Okay. What we are trying to do in our current use case is we are going to take an input command saying that say deploy. Okay, so if you say deploy, what it would do is based on this particular command, it would make a connection to a GitHub CI/CD pipeline, and then it would start off with the deployment. Okay, and you should be able to see how this connection works end to end. So basically, what we're trying to do is instead of, uh, you know, um, this is a very simple step of just saying deploy, right? In case, imagine if the CI/CD pipeline fails, okay, then you would want to take some actions in terms of rolling back and all of that. So this solution can, do much more than just deploy. It could also take proactive steps of rolling back and all of that. It could do some kind of analysis of fixing the issues that are coming, or give you suggestions as to why that pipeline has failed and what needs to be done. So it can do a lot more. But for our demo purposes, we are focused more on just having these dots connected from a AI agent to your CI/CD pipeline, and how NLP and AI agents can be spun up quickly using Hugging Face as a platform. So coming to the CI/CD pipeline itself, it is very simple. I'm sure most of you would be aware, but just for a wider audience to understand how the CI/CD pipeline itself works, what we are trying to do is we are just taking a simple hello world Mule application, and that application will be deployed on Cloud Hub 2.0. So the steps involved in deployment are very simple. It is a Mavenized step. It's MVN deploy basically that we are using. So basic the Mule application that we have in the repository, we are using GitHub workflow actions for this. And what we do is we first publish the asset, that is the MuleSoft asset, using MVN, that is Maven, to publish it to the exchange. And in the second step, we deploy it onto the runtime manager. So these are the two-step processes that happen in the CI/CD pipeline when we are doing this deployment. So this is the only portion that has been implemented as part of CI/CD. Of course, there are so many other um, so automation to kind of promote the API instances to the API manager, or to even document the API on Exchange pages. Um, all of this can be automated, and we can have, I mean, sky's the limit. There are a lot of other automations that we can do. You can automate even the API proxy creation. Instead of you doing it manually on the platform, you can automate all of that, and you can then hook in a AI agent which will proactively take care of deploying, managing, triaging, and taking some actions, giving suggestions as what needs to be done and all of that. So it gives you the next level of control in terms of simplifying your DevOps actions, right? So it's a great assistant in terms of how delivery can be achieved using AI agent. Also, how you would do it in a Cloud Hub 1.0 is also here. Basically, in Cloud Hub 1.0, the difference in terms of how the deployment would work is you would just deploy it directly to the runtime manager. You do not have to do the two-step process of first publishing it into the exchange and then doing the deployment into the runtime, because that is not something that is really required in Cloud Hub 1.0. But I think since we are moving more towards Cloud Hub 2.0 as part of the MuleSoft roadmap, I think we'll focus more on Cloud Hub 2.0 itself, and maybe I'll not talk much about the Cloud Hub 1. Yeah. So also, there are different other flavors. It's not just GitHub, right? You can use any other deployment topology. You could use Jenkins, you could use Azure DevOps, you could use so many other different capabilities, or for build and deploy requirements. And you can always plug in your AI agents to bring in the flavor to help you out more, to kind of triage, help, and fix the issues. So here you have different I'm just trying to list down the various automation capabilities that we have. Like, you have different version controls, you have different build and deploy tools, like you have Jenkins, Bamboo, and Ansible, Circle CI, and whatnot. You have GitHub, also GitHub Actions, and then you have Artifactory. So basically, this is your overall typical stack which you'll come across in your organizations. I hope that this discussion that we are having will inspire you to kind of try some hands-on in Hugging Face and try to create your own AI agents or AI applications, which can help you to, achieve innovation and creative solutions in your engagements with your customers. Yeah. So I think if I'll take a pause here, I'll want to hear if you have any questions, and then I can start off with the demo. Anybody, any questions? If no questions, then I'll start with the demo. All right, yeah. Let me just go to the demo. You'll be interested in that. So this is the Hugging Face, right? When you first time log in, it will ask you to create a space. You can create it as an individual user, or you can give an organization name. As in, you can give your own creative name and call it, like, some kind of a community or whatever. And you can also collaborate among your peers or friends to kind of create your own AI applications. So I have created my space here. and the link to this is already shared. It's a public AI application, so it's accessible to you. You should be able to access this as well. So what we have here is, in this space, it will give you an opportunity. Basically, what it does is here, in this space, you can see, you can create your own application, right? So if I go to the files, right, so here you will see, most important is, first thing that you would define is your requirements. So you would create a requirement.text, and in that I have given Spacey, which is your this is your AI pre-trained model, which will help you to achieve your NLP requirements, right? It brings in the NLP flavor, right? So I've used this particular dependency in the requirements.text. In your case, if you're using a different model, you'll have to make those entries into this requirement.text file. Okay, and you can give any name to your AI application, whatever you want to give, right? So it's just a creative name that I've just given. Once you've created your dependencies in the requirement.text, right, you would then define your Python application. This is where all the magic happens, right? So what we're doing is, it's a Streamlit based AI application, so that is why you will see the dependency of Streamlit is here. We are also importing the Spacey NLP model. And then this request is required for making the API calls. And then there's also Spacey CLI, which is required in terms of, downloading some of the, in case you run into some errors and you want to take some actions, you'll also need that. So that's one of the reasons we are importing all of this stuff. Now what we do is we define that, right? So you see that there's hardly 4 lines of code, and you're like, it's just hardly 4 or 5 lines of code here. This does the magic for you, right? What it does is, it first creates an instance of it loads the Spacey NLP library, and then once this is done, it will load this Encore Web model, which is a small pre-trained model for English provided by Spacey. Okay, so that's what we are using. When I say small, you will have heard a word of LLM, right? Large. So you will have LLMs which are dealing with a large scale data. So this is not large scale one. This is small, and this is sufficient for your use case. So it's easy for you to execute it, test it, and play around with it, right? So it's a very good one to use. So once you've loaded this library and this model, what you would do is, then you would probably use this NLP as your placeholder to take the input that is going to come from the UI, that is your Streamlit. I'll just show you how to execute that. Now, coming to, once you have a placeholder of, you have embed the intelligence of reading the human language here, right? So you can say whatever you want to say, and it will be able to interpret that, right? So you're trying to parse through that input data that you would type in, right? Now, the second part of this implementation is, this AI agent needs to connect to GitHub. So what you would do is, you would use the GitHub REST API call, in which you will definitely have this path, right? The endpoint, in which you will pass the repo owner, repo name, and workflow file that is defined here in the bottom. Um, Okay, so here you have, the repo owner, repo name, and the workflow file. And this repo I have created here in GitHub. Okay, okay, go here. Yeah, so this is where it is created. It has all the CI/CD implemented here. This is also a public repository. It's accessible to you. You can access it and check it out as to what the code is. But basically, what it actually has, if I talk about in a nutshell, it has a simple Mule application. Okay, a simple Mule application, which is the flow, right? It's a normal Mule application flow. Then we have the Maven settings, where we are reading the connected app client ID secret, how to create a connected app for deployments. If you that should be very simple. You can refer the documentation that is there on MuleSoft documentation as to what are the different scopes that you need to add. So if you go here to the access management in any point platform, you can create a connected app which is required for the deployment with different scopes. Okay, And this is there in the documentation which is provided by MuleSoft. I think you can refer that and you can create this connected app. Once you have the connected app, you'll have the credentials, you'll have the ID and secret available for you, and you will be taking those and you will be passing that as a value in your GitHub actions secrets. You have a connected app client ID, client secret, decryption key, all of that stuff. You have it here, and this client ID, ID and secret, you taking it um, from the connected app that you created here, right? So this is basically what it does, and then you have the workflow file, the build.yaml. What it does is, for you, what is important for you to understand is just these two commands, right? The first mvn deploy, which actually publishes the asset to exchange, and the second mvn command, which actually does the deployment. So this is a very standard cloud hub 2.0 deployment strategy. There's a no brainer. I mean, I'm sure most of you would be aware of it. Some of you who are not, you can just refer this. It's a publicly available repository. You can refer this if you would want to understand how the deployment works, right? So if you look at the command mvn deploy, it would take all this client id secret, decryption key, and maybe even the asset version, and then it would deploy. um, yeah, coming back to this python code, right? So this is what you do, and then you would also you read the command, right? You would read the command based on some tokenized values. So this is where your NLP functions, which you have defined here on top, will come into play. You'll use this NLP to read the input text and then break it down, and if you're able to see one of these commands, then you take an action, right? So then you make a call. You see, you triggering this GitHub action. So this goes to this particular function here, right? In this function, you're triggering it, and you're passing all these values. So it goes and makes a connection, and if all is good, then it says, it is successful. If there is an error response, then it says it's errored out. So that's what would happen. So that's how this would work. Now, if you see, this application is already running. Okay, so if you see here, it is already running. What I can do is, let me just put a command. I'll say deploy, and I'll just do a enter. Okay, and let me just refresh this. It will, so it has triggered your pipeline from your AI agent. Okay, and you are seeing it build here. Okay, this has got triggered. Let's go to the runtime manager at the same time, right? So there is no application currently. And let's look at this one. So this is version 2.0.2. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So it looks like the publication is happening. Let's refresh this. Yeah, so it got incremented to 2.0.3. And the deployment is almost about to start. Let's see if something is happening here. Not yet. Yeah, it has started deploying. You can see this. Okay, so let's wait for it to complete. Meanwhile, I think, since this is continuing to happen here, I think it should take just a couple of minutes more, maybe just a minute or more. It's starting. So what's interesting, right, is your space in Hugging Face. So Hugging Face, right? So if you go here, and if you look at different spaces, right? For example, you can go to models. Okay, you can see different models that are available for you to refer and reuse, right? You can see the, look at the amount of reusable stuff you have. Like, you can do text to speech, you can do audio to audio, you can do film mask, whatnot. I mean, it's an open source area, and there are a lot of there's a huge community which works here, and there are also enterprises who are using this Hugging Face, right? Because it's open source, and it's a great place to go and learn and try your own hands on, right? Apart from Hugging Face, the other place I would rather suggest, if you'd want to be a little bit more I would say, how would I put it, a more if you want to have everything hosted locally and you don't want to expose it to the outside world and you want to just try it internally, then maybe you can just use Google Colab. Okay, so in your Google Drive, you can install the Google Colab and you can do your Python coding and learning there. And there's a lot of material available on Google and on Copilots and whatnot. So you can even try Google Colab. Even that is a very good place to do your coding and Python scripting and MLs. It's a great place. Okay, let's see what has happened. Okay, so this deployment is completed, and if you go here, yeah, so that's about it. I think this is all I wanted to show you guys. I just want to know if anybody has any questions. I'll take a pause here. Anybody, any questions? Any questions about the open source AI agent? How we can do it? Anything regarding the code? I want to hear from you. I think I'm pretty much done here. Just few more points that I want to add. Like for example, you have a lot of ready-to-use SaaS offerings. So maybe I want to show you that as well. You have a lot of SaaS offerings from different.
Yeah, Sid, Sandeep here. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
So there is one question in the chat actually. So Joyce is asking, what is your source code in Hugging Face named as? She's asking a question in the chat. So
yeah. It
people are
is.
asking questions in the chat only because they cannot,
Okay.
speak
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I was not
No
aware.
worries, no worries, no worries.
Oh, sorry. Just give me a second. Come to the screen here. Let me come to the chat. I was not aware that the questions coming in, and I was like, okay. I'll try to read through. Yeah, it is safe to use Hugging Face for your enterprise requirements. For enterprises, I think it is a paid version, but for your own use, I think you should be able to use. You can go and spin up your own applications there, and it is pretty safe to use it. Yeah, there's another question. Which was that question, Sandeep, that they were asking?
The other question is, it's asking what is your source code in Hugging Face?
Okay, yeah, I have shared the link already. The source code of the link is already shared. As in, this is the Python code which I have written. I mean, writing a Python code should not be so difficult. So if I go to my space, right? So as I showed you, just give me a second. As I showed you, it was just like it's just like one page code. That's it. In fact, it's just like a five liner code. So basically, you are not really writing your own LLMs and then training them. You have pre-trained models available for you. So basically, all that I'm trying to do here is just import that library and that NLP model, and then use it for my purposes. So it's a very simple piece of code, and this is I think anybody can write this code. I think it should not be a difficulty. If you really finding it very difficult to write your Python code, you can use any of the copilots that you have. You can use Google Gemini. You can use maybe ChatGPT or any other copilots. Ask them for some suggestion. You will get a lot of suggestion as to what kind. You can mention what is your use case and what is the Python code you want. You'll pretty much get the code that you need. All the code that you might get might not be very relevant for what you're using it. You'll have to do your exploration and find out what is your right fit. But there is a lot of YouTube videos also available for Hugging Face. I've shared some of that already in the references of this presentation that I have. So even the AI agent that I've created, that is also available in for your access. So you can go and access it. I can put it in the chat, guys. If you can just access it, let me know. If you're facing issues, let me know. Yeah, I can give you that also here. Yeah. Oh, thanks for that question, Vishujit. So basically, this is more of a hello world. It's basically to encourage community people to kind of go and explore um, open source ways of doing things, because using the ready to use AI agents, which might be provided by any of the SaaS platforms, right, like Google or Amazon Bedrock, SageMaker, all of that, right, or even Salesforce. Um, your creativity is not is more limited. The speed is definitely there. You can immediately roll it out, and it is a pre-packaged AI agent. But if you would want to spin up something that is your own, to do something very creative, so I think sky is the limit. And if you want to do it, I think Hugging Face gives you a very good place where you can just write like like a 10 line Python code, and you can spin up your own AI agent, and then you can do so much with it. This is just the, like, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's just like the hello world of a AI agent. That's what I would call it. I'd be more than happy to collaborate with you guys to kind of maybe enhance this solution, to make it like a full-fledged product where it can do a lot more than what it is doing currently, right? If it can in fact spin up its own AI, spin up its own pipeline by itself, even without, you don't even have to write this piece of code here, right? Which is you've written all of this code, so you don't even have to do that. Just imagine if your AI agent can pretty much spin up the entire pipeline code. It can create it, it can maintain it, it can do all of that work which you are doing, and in fact go to the next level of, I think that would be the next level ultimately. But even before that, help you to triage issues that are coming when your pipeline is running. It fails, so it will tell you why it is failing, what you should do. This is the problem you have, and this is what you can solve. So I think this is a great platform for that purposes. So when you're talking of hallucination and temperature and all of that question, Vishwajit, that you've put in here, I think we are not actually we are not building LLMs from scratch. We are using pre-trained models. So we need to understand that, right? So when you're using a pre-trained model, you are not tampering with the actual LLM model. You're just leveraging that model. But if you really would want to build your own LLM model, of course, that's when it'll be more mathematics, and a lot of these topics would come into picture. And the current LLM model, the current spacey model that we have used, it's just moderate. It is going to handle very simple text. It's not going to do a lot of next level of, it's not a large, it's not going to handle large data model. So we need to be understanding that the scope is very limited. It's just for your creative purposes and to spin up your simple use case here. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, I think there's a question from Joyce. She's asked, where would I get the source code? I think I've answered that. I've already given the links, guys. Are you able to access that link which I have given in the chat of the AI agent? Yes, yes. Okay, perfect. That's good. So you have the code already. So I would really encourage you guys, please go and explore Hugging Face, try out different use cases. If you're interested in collaborating with me, I'm more than happy to work with you. We can enhance this solution and make it go to the next level. I'll add you to my space, and we can collaborate and enhance this solution. And maybe if you're interested in doing a different use case, and if you want any kind of support from me, I'm more than happy to help you for that. Okay. Any other questions? I'm just trying to read through here if I've missed something.
No, I don't think we have any more questions, Sid. So probably
Okay. Okay.
that's good. I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
about it.
anyway, thank you so much, Sid. I know that you are in a very hectic schedule. So we unfortunately we postponed this couple of times as well, due to many other reasons. So, but anyway, it happened. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your help and efforts. Okay.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, and I'm being very candid here with all the participants, I would definitely want to enhance this AI agent to do a lot more. it's just like a very simple hands-on stuff that I have done. I would be more than happy to collaborate with you guys and build something else, enhance the one that's already there. Um, yeah, again, there's one question from Joyce. She said, have you tried other Hugging Face models? Yes, I have tried image processing. In fact, I just finished my post-graduation certification from IISc Bangalore last year in May, and my final year project was on style. GAN style, basically, face recognition and all of that. So yes, I do have quite some hands-on, but that was done on Google Colab. That project was implemented in Google Colab. But yes, you can definitely use a Hugging Face. It will make your life much more easy. You can spin up solutions very quickly. It will give you more confidence in terms of using something that's already pre-trained. But if you really are genuinely interested in doing deep learning, where you want to build your own LLM or your own AI model, then of course, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. Let me know if you need any content which I should create, which will help you to achieve that. I'm all ears. All right, then. I think no more questions, Sandeep. I think we've had a good session.
Yeah, yeah, very very good.
Yeah, I think we can close.
Okay,
Yeah,
so thank you so much. Okay, so we will catch you soon in another session, interesting session. Thanks a lot for all your efforts.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Thank you.
thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Thank you for joining, and hope you had a great session. And please do practice. Please do try it yourself whatever Sid has explained. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much everyone once again.
Yeah, thank you.